Rebecca, talk to me about product market fit. I was talking to Kurt earlier today, and I didn't realize that you helped incubate Tabs when you were at Primary. I think it was I would say, slightly less ambitious idea going after just robotics at the time. Like, that's incredible.
I think we started with a very operational focus, and billing was always central to that, and usage-based billing was always central to that. And actually, I think I'll call it a product market fit journey. I think similarly, it's not a milestone, it's a lifelong journey. And in that, we realized that the way that we were tackling the problem around complexity and billing was very centered around what data is required to be able to send an invoice at a complex organization. It's not just CRM data, it's the contract, the PO, the amendment, the renewal. How do we put together a complex knowledge graph of all of that commercial documentation and use that to power billing? Certainly, it's definitely still part of what we do, but even more powerfully, revenue and reporting that is much hairier to do, requires a lot more domain expertise, and has allowed us to go really deep with accounting teams far beyond the operational side of billing tasks. And so I think our journey has taken us deeper into the finance and accounting organization, deeper into sort of our respect for that domain. And as a result, to larger companies, more complex companies, and upmarket quite a bit.
I think it's safe to say all three of you have found product market fit. It is an evolving target, as you've all pointed out. Would you be comfortable with just sharing the directionality of the business? Like, how fast are things growing? Like, Fred, I don't think you've slept in a couple weeks. You can give me anything here. I just want to know the size of the bread box. Could be employees, just year-over-year growth. How are you feeling about things? So I'll start with you, Fred.
Three of us last March, April, May. Now, fast forwarding 1 year, we're about 39 of us today with offices across New York and San Francisco. I can't comment about revenue at this point. I know that there's some recent bits and pieces in the press that I appreciate people are getting excited about Fleet, but when we're ready to say, we'll disclose it. I think what gets me excited, though, is that, I used to work at a fairly large bank in a division that did a lot, and I think that we're comfortably well above that in terms of run rate at this point, so it's very exciting.
I did not leak those numbers to the information last month. Raul, how about you?
So one way to conceptualize it is around this time last year, we were just shy of 40 employees. I think it was like around 35 or so. We just crossed 140. If we can find enough engineers, as discussed on the last panel, and among some other profiles, we should be well above 250 by the end of the year.
Okay. Rebecca, how are you feeling about things?
I need a few more margin readas. We are hiring for engineers, product managers, forward deployed folks, customer success, implementation, sales, marketing, BDRs, partnerships, people ops, talent.
I want to dig into that because I feel like a lot of people in the audience are having constraints around hiring. And from the outside, you may say, oh, we just need more engineers. We need more people who know about AI, who can code or at least use the AI to code. I actually am hearing from people that the constraint is onboarding and the ability to get customers set up. I'm not sure if you're feeling that pain.
Someone told me once it's like good when the problems are growth problems. Especially for us, we are hiring incredibly thoughtful domain experts for the most part who have real depth of experience in systems migrations and ERPs and accounting. And this is not a dime a dozen SaaS generalist role anymore. And so as our business gets more complex and our customers get more complex, the type of profile we're hiring for gets more complex too. And we have lofty ambitions and we want to keep the bar really, really high. We have to be incredibly, incredibly dynamic in market to find that talent.
What is a forward deployed engineer?
In the traditional sense, I feel like it's just a rebranding of a consultant in a lot of ways and places. But I think in like a purist sense, it's someone that should really be spending time embedded with a customer, working with them, understanding exactly what their needs are, exactly what will actually get whatever their objective is across the line, and do it using your product. Like, we're figuring out exactly what the term should be, but we are considering ourselves, again, like forward deployed researchers. We'll go in and actually sit down with researchers at the AI labs, partner with them on projects, structure it, and then figure out how to execute it. It means that we're doing a lot of everything from engineering to data work to our own internal research initiatives. And day to day, it just means we're spending a lot of time with our customers.
Just to go a little bit deeper on that, because I think that's the team that you run in addition to doing the payroll and cleaning dishes in the office. How does this differ from traditional customer success?
It's a lot less account manager focus. It's a lot less account management focus, rather. If a researcher comes up with an idea, or we go to them proposing an idea, or we show them a benchmark that says, hey, your models have some place that they can improve upon, we can then build the software, populate it with synthetic data, represent an entire enterprise workplace environment in our simulation environments, and then develop a training regime or eval regime that can actually push the models forward or determine exactly where their capabilities begin to fail. I tend to think that goes a little further than traditional kind of customer success or engagement role, and that's I think where the magic is. It's actually getting in and doing the engineering work and doing the research work with the client.
Raul, what's been the constraint for you other than everything?
There is a little bit of everything in terms of the normal growing pains of the startup, so I'll corroborate that. But for a long time, and this ties to our conversation about PMF as well, the blocker for what AI can do in a workplace, including a financial firm, was the model intelligence and the adjacencies around that model intelligence. For example, something as simple as tool complexity or context complexity for a model, as recently as 6-7 months ago, was a major constraint on the kind of work and the kind of ROI, therefore, an AI application could deliver. The model intelligence is no longer a blocker. And then the blockers for growth, including our growth, or growth across the application layer, is everything else. It's you show up at the likes of a JP Morgan, to pick on them. It's the myriad P&L and workforce issues they have to sort through in thinking about tokens in addition to headcount or as a substitute for headcount. There are blockers around workforce enablement and transformation and getting these, crusty 50 and 60 something partners who are used to doing something a very specific way and getting them to move to a new regime. Those are the blockers. And so that's as much about how we organize ourselves externally as a business. Because if we can help get there more quickly, we're going to sell a lot more agents. We're going to sell a lot more of our product.
How do you think the traditional go-to-market motion has changed when it comes to hiring salespeople? Are you looking at this like you can just throw bodies at it in quota, or is it completely different?
You need the conventional enterprise SaaS playbook, instincts, and skills, how to navigate these large, complex organizations, knowing when to do qualification and discovery, all of that. Combine that with, deep product fluency and intelligence at a time when the products themselves are changing by the week. And also, frankly, the ability to sell partnership. And that's hard. And it's hard to have a set of reps that spike on all three, much less have the ability to show up and deliver a suite of capabilities like we were talking about. So I think we're all figuring that out. But I think that becomes the evolution of the playbook.
Listen, I'm no mathematician, although that is what my mother-in-law tells people I do for work. My son-in-law is CJ. He's a mathematician. If your finance team expands linearly with your headcount, your leverage is broken. Too many CFOs waste incredible talent on low-value maintenance, manual reconciliation, chasing missing receipts, and policing $30 software subscriptions. Woo, woo, woo! It's the expense police, run! That's a systems problem. And that's why you need Brex. Brex is an intelligent finance platform powered by AI workflows that handle the heavy lifting automatically, which is a fancy word for without you. Instead of burning elite finance minds on administrative maintenance, Brex gives your team the leverage to focus on momentum and growth. Thousands of companies, including Anthropic, Coinbase, and DoorDash, already run on Brex. Stop asking your A-level finance talent to do B-level admin work. It's time to get Brex. Head to brex.com/metrics. That is brex.com/metrics.